The International Association for Near-Death Studies presents NDE Radio, a weekly exploration of near-death experiences and similar encounters with the other side. Now, here's your host, Lee Whitting.
What if net listeners had questions about NDEs and no one had answers? What if NDE Radio had a call-in show that never answered the phones? And worst of all, what if NDE Radio had a call-in show and nobody called? Welcome to IAND's NDE Radio, brought to you by the International Association for Near-Death Studies. I'm your host, Lee Whitting, and this is just our second call-in show out of the first 9 programs. The number to call is 888-463-6748. One of the reasons for the existence of IANDS is to lend support to folks who have had a near-death experience or similar out-of-body mystical experience. For many reasons, including fear, relatives, doctors, and friends have a long, pain-filled history of misinforming near-death experiencers that what they experienced was merely a hallucination or a dream. This can be embarrassing, even distressing to many NDEers, and they need this positive support from others that IANDS can provide. If you've had such an experience or would like to know more about it, give us a call at 888-463-6748. And we have a caller named Helen. Are you there, Helen?
Yes, I'm here.
Thanks
Hello?
for calling. Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, is this Lee?
Yes, it is. You're on the air.
Okay, I wanted to relate to you, first of all, the feeling that I get when you open the program is one of such supportive love that, I don't find in many places because no one can really relate to what I experienced. I had been meditating for about a year and a half, and on a particular spring, lovely day, I arose with the calmness and peace associated with a lengthy meditative state, and I looked out my living room window, and I was one with the blades of grass and the rocks in the road, and I was enveloped in a love I could not put into words. This love was in everything and everyone, and at the core of my being, I was this love, and so was everyone else. I remember in this state, which I refer to as a state of grace, there was no duality, no right or wrong, no good or bad, no judgment whatsoever, and fear was non-existent. There was no death, and I knew that we all live forever. And everyone I met was one with this love. It did not matter what they looked like or behaved like. I was they, and they were me, and we are all connected. The utter joy and bliss is indescribable. It's actually beyond words. I just became aware that a presence other than what I usually think of as myself was looking through my eyes, and I had become one with it. And it is really the very essence of life, eternal life. This awareness sees without judgment. I wanted nothing, needed nothing. It was the peace that passeth understanding. And the energy of the universe is this love, and it flows through us all. And I think that everyone needs to know how much they are loved, unconditionally loved, and that they never should be harsh with themselves, but instead have great mercy. And we human beings deserve a pat on the back because it's quite a journey. But the beauty of our souls is unbelievable. And I thank you for allowing me to share this with all your listeners.
Well, you're very welcome, Helen. Thank you for sharing with us. Did you find that this experience changed your life after that?
Totally. Everything. Everything changed. It was difficult in the sense that I found I couldn't relate, others couldn't relate to me. And I felt like I didn't fit any longer. I didn't belong in the family I was in. And I found that I could not watch the news and witness the daily cruelty and violence without tears filling my eyes. And my attention span for what was going on in this insane world was shortened. Yet, let me have a view of an ocean or beach or child or newborn baby, and I would be just riveted by that. So, yes, it changed everything, and I wanted to help others and be of service, which I did do. And it has never, ever, it's as if it happened yesterday. It's not like I know people say, oh, it's probably just a dream or hallucination. No way. It is so real. It is really who you really are.
Yes.
It's my true nature as well as yours and everyone who's listening.
Wouldn't it be wonderful? Wouldn't it make such a difference in the world if everyone who's had an experience like yours could talk about it to their family and to their friends?
Yes, instead of being looked at askance, and actually I felt that my family was frightened by where I had been and what I had experienced. And yet, what would happen to war if we realized we are all one, and that what we do to another, we do to ourselves? When we hate another, we're hating ourselves. When we judge another, we're judging ourselves. And when we love another, we're loving ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're all one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
have you had problems with your family since this happened?
Yes. I have learned to understand where they are and not to wish or force anything upon them. So I don't really speak of what I experienced to them any longer. I just live my life how I know it needs to be lived and how I feel my true nature would want, or doesn't want anything, would live it. So that's what I do. I find my way around, mainly everyone that I know. I don't know anyone who's had an experience like this. So I joined EONS, and I wrote an article way back when this happened that they published in the newsletter, and they have really been the light for me, and the only place I feel I belong.
Very good. Well, IANS couldn't ask for a better recommendation than yours. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Lee, and I am so grateful that you have have this radio program where we are able to call in and share our experiences. It really is a boon to the spirit. So thank you.
Oh, great.
Now, can I ask you one question before I go?
Of course.
Where do you broadcast from?
Well, through the miracle of Skype, I can broadcast from anywhere through TalkZone in Chicago. But right now, I live on the coast of Maine, looking out over Penobscot Bay, even as we speak.
Oh, I used to live up there. It's beautiful.
Isn't it? It's a wonderful place to be.
Beautiful. And I'm in Connecticut, and it's lovely here, too. But on the East Coast, there doesn't seem to be as much awareness as there is on the West Coast. Am I correct?
I think that's true. I think a lot of the near-death experience people have looked for kindred spirits, and often find them in the New Age oriented people who live more often in California and places like that.
Yeah.
But there are local groups. I don't know if you have one near you in Connecticut, but you could check with the IANS office and find out.
I have gone to it. It's quite a distance from my home, but I have gone up to Storrs, Connecticut, and they have a group meeting there at the University of Connecticut, and that has been wonderful. So I was hoping to find other people closer, but you have to be careful it's a shame that you have to be careful who you share this with.
That's true. You might find that there are enough people in your immediate area if you put out the word that might like to join you in starting a group near where you live.
I have done that, yes. I have done that, and did it at the local library, and didn't get anyone. So, but I'll keep on trying.
All right, Helen.
Important message.
Well,
thank you, Lee.
Thanks for calling. Bye-bye. I did want to mention, while we're talking about things to help those who have had a near-death experience get some sympathy from those people who are supposedly professionals in the medical field, that IANS now has a near-death experience, what medical professionals need to know DVD. It's a 30-minute movie. It's oriented to doctors. It's presented by doctors. And to read from the little ad we have on our website at IANS, this groundbreaking video features 6 medical professionals, addresses the needs of near-death experiencers, and provides professional and general audiences with knowledge of NDEs. It's a training video. It's $39.95 by itself. You can buy an institutional training package, which would be a great thing for, say, a chaplain to present to the medical staff at a hospital. And that with supporting training materials comes to $199. Both are available on the IANS shopping cart. And of course, IANS members get discounts. But the purpose of the training video is not only to educate medical professionals an NDE is, but also to help them see that NDEs are fairly common and that they may need to set aside their own reactions and beliefs to assist their patients. Many mass media depictions of NDEs still feature them as mysterious, inexplicable psychic events. Others try to explain NDEs in physical terms, such as oxygen deprivation or electrical stimulation or whatever in the brain. But this training video shifts the emphasis to patient care, which IANS has been all about for a long time. And NDEs are presented as normal human experiences, which they are, and they should be treated in the larger context of patient needs. So this medical video, near-death experience, what medical professionals need to know, could be very useful if you work in a medical or hospice setting, any of the healthcare-related fields. I think you might find this interesting for yourself and for others that you're working with. We're still waiting for another call, and you may call 888-463-6748 to talk to me and to the listening audience about a near-death experience, or if you have any questions about near-death experience, we'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, I thought I had an email just this week from a woman named Maria who had wondered because she felt she'd had a dream, but the dream was so vivid, so real, but not a near-death experience at all. And so I asked her to write it down and to send it in. And let me just read some of her description to you while we're waiting for another call. Maria writes, "This happened to me many years ago, maybe 1996, so it might be difficult to describe all of it correctly. I remember most specific impressions of the dream and how this event got me interested in reading more about NDEs. I suddenly found myself in a beautiful garden-like place. To be more correct, it was an intersection or a section of a road which was placed in a country setting. When I say beautiful, I mean it looked like it was well tended, yet very natural, not a formal area. It was a very joyful and pleasantly warm place which radiated its own peace and welcome. I'm going to stop right here because we have a call from Rhonda. Rhonda, are you there?
I'm here. Hi, Lee.
How are you doing?
Good, thanks. I've been listening to the show, and one of the things I was thinking of from the caller Helen that just called, I wondered if she knew about the symposium that's in New York on November 23rd.
That would be a good thing to tell us about. I should let people know that you're calling from the IANS office in Durham, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
So, yes, tell us about it.
Well, it's called A Journey to Heaven and Back. It's a symposium on near-death experiences, and it's being held by the Open Center, and the speakers will be Eben Alexander, Anita Morjani, and Lorna Byrne. And it's a one-day event, and their website is www.opencenter.org, and you can get all the information you need on it. But it is being moderated by the IANS treasurer, Robert Mays, and he will be both talking about near-death experiences, and he will be interviewing or questioning the three speakers.
Very interesting. We need to find a different title for Robert because he's so much more than the treasurer at IANS. I sometimes describe him as the brains behind IANS because he's so accomplished and he's so interested in this field.
He is, yeah, both as a researcher and he's invaluable to me in the office. He helps out with lots of things and lots of questions I have. So I agree. He is kind of the brains behind us.
I will have him on the show one of these Mondays for sure.
Well, he's an avid listener, so I'm sure he's probably looking up in his schedule right now and can plan on something.
Now, Rhonda, since you're there in the office, we have probably a lot of people who have, like Helen, had an experience and have been turned off by their families or rejected by their professional doctors and whatever. Now, if someone like that didn't want to be on the radio but just wanted some support and they called into the IANS office, what could we do for them?
There's a number of things. There's local groups that can be of assistance. We do have a support system set up, both with the groups that we have internally, and then there's also Assist, which is a sister organization to IANS and can offer professional help with therapists, et cetera, if somebody would choose that, to talk with that have knowledge and awareness of near-death experiences, both from the standpoint of what that's like and having been trained in the various after effects and so forth. So, and lots of times it's someone that the majority of calls that we do get are someone that wants to just know that they're not crazy, that this has been something that has happened to someone else, that it's real, and it's somebody not telling them, that it couldn't have happened. We support and validate the experience for them. We don't judge it as right or wrong or good or bad. We understand, and I've been there. I've had one also. Other people that are in the office that are also here have also had near-death experiences. So they do understand. They understand what it's like to share it, and we understand what it's like to talk about it with somebody. Right.
And I should mention also that Diane Corcoran, who's the president of IANS, is a retired military person who is working with people who've had NDEs in battle or as a result of some terrible experience or PTSD-related experience. And so we're especially interested in helping veterans and our troops.
Right, and combat is different. Combat, not that it's different, but it's a different awareness. Combat veterans oftentimes don't realize that they've had a near-death. I had my near-death at 12 years old and didn't realize it was a near-death till I came to work here, and that was about when I was 52, 54.
It's pretty amazing.
There really is a name for it.
It's amazing how it's something that's born in us and tends to mature over sometimes several years. People can be initially shocked by it, and then they sort of put it away. but they find they have growing abilities in fields they never thought they were interested in before, perhaps psychic abilities or whatever. And as they mature in their experience, then they begin to get the courage to talk about it a little bit. But
yeah, I'm also a believer in that you remember what you need to remember when you do.
Yes.
It comes back, and you're remembering it usually for a reason, to deal with something that's going on in your life or to help you through something. Then you remember.
Well, Rhonda, thank you for calling
welcome.
in. And give my best to everyone at the office down there.
I will.
I would love.
And Vital Signs is on its way.
Oh, good. That's my other job at IANS is Rhonda and I edit Vital Signs together. So, thanks very much.
All right. You're welcome, Lee. Take care.
Take care. Well, we are welcoming callers, and the number to call is 888-463-6748. And in the meantime, I'm going to get back to this letter that Maria sent to me about her dream, and I will interrupt it again if somebody calls in. In front of me, a short distance, was a very tall and long line of deep green hedging, which I could not see through. Behind me was a road or path made of some kind of large pebbles and sand, which radiated a golden color. To my right, I don't remember seeing anything, and to my left, the path and hedge line curved so it enclosed me in a field. I was standing off the path in the middle of a meadow which was extending between the hedge and the path. I was puzzled of why I was there, and on top of it, I felt a profound feeling of disappointment because there was no one there to be with me. Suddenly, I noticed I was barefooted, and the grass under my foot was alive in such a way that I had never seen on earth before. I was mesmerized and looked at it intensely, realizing it's not the sun which gives it light, but it was made of light. Light was coming out of it. Then I looked up and saw that everything was made of light. All the other surroundings were also from the same design. I was impressed to see some flowers there, so I picked one, and I was thinking now it's going to die because I don't know what to do with it, and there was nowhere to put it. I didn't want to waste it. But somehow I had the knowledge to put it back where I took it from, and that it would live on, because the light which was creating it and everything can't disappear. I went to have a look at the path also and saw that the ground too had light coming out of it. It was very pleasant, a very pleasant place to be, and I knew nothing would hurt me, but after I had satisfied my curiosity, I kept feeling lonely and decided to look for people. I had a feeling that I was in heaven, so I thought I'd go for a walk and see if I could find someone to enlighten me some more. Also, I felt like I really needed to tell someone my problems and ask for some advice. This is the part where I'm not so sure what happened next, and then I woke up. The next few days I was going through the dream in my head, and my delight in learning about that place many would call heaven. The way the light formed, everything there, and how blessed I was because of the understanding I had gained. Then soon after, one morning, as I was still filled with the intoxicating joy of this experience, I walked into my local bookstore. They were advertising different new releases and bestsellers. A book caught my eye. I picked it up, and the page I opened to was literally describing my dream in words that I had previous difficulty in finding to do so. I bought the book, which was written by Sherry Sutherland, Ph.D., titled Within the Light. As soon as I read it, I decided I don't believe in this rubbish, and I had a wholehearted intention to forget all about it. But it was easier said than done. As time went by, more and more books came my way with a description of the light and its ability to form and create. Some of those books were of a scientific nature, so it confirmed what I knew to be true. However, it brought me the one question I had written to me about in the previous letter, which was concerning whether a dream could be real. Having said all this, looking back, I'm certain this dream had a significant impact on my life because at that time my spiritual knowledge was rooted in what organized religion taught me. At first, the information I gained in this dream looked so incongruous, somehow didn't fit into what I was then. However, the paradox is that it did fit better than anything else. And she goes on to describe another experience, but I think we're going to save that for another day. If we have a few minutes left, if anyone would like to call in, the number is 888-463-6748. It's very interesting how these different events occur in our lives. A lot of them come from drownings, from oxygen being shut off, and of course many medical doctors will say that's the effect of the dying brain. The tunnel, the optic nerve shutting down, the light at the end of it, just a physical manifestation. But it's very interesting that the brain is the thing that seems to be getting in the way of our larger consciousness, that some would call a soul. And this is what we're experiencing, is the brain is shutting down for reasons of, it could be stress, it could be meditation. That's always the goal of someone who's trying to meditate, is to quiet what they call the monkey chatter of the brain. If we could somehow just calm our brain or distract it for a little while, and sometimes chanting Om, sometimes hypnosis, will bring us through to that connection with our larger consciousness and with the larger consciousness of the world. So religious practices can do this. Meditation, yoga. We do not want to go out and have a near-death experience, believe me. I nearly drowned myself, and I wouldn't want to go through that again, even though the reward of the near-death experience was profound. In any event, there are many, many paths to this, and one of the things that we can learn from IONS is all of the different paths that people have followed in getting to their near-death experience. There are many stories. We have hundreds and hundreds of stories about near-death experience and related mystical events. We also have some stories about what they call distressing near-death experience, and we're going to get into that topic in a future show. Well, I think that's it for today. It was pretty quiet for a call-in show. That question I opened with, what if we had a call-in show and no one called in, was fortunately defeated by the two really wonderful calls we had from Helen and from Rhonda, and I thank them both for that. I thank Dave Olson, my producer and engineer in Chicago, for handling the calls. And let me see. We will have another call-in show soon, and I hope more people will call in as they get oriented to the idea. In the meantime, remember, if you have an NDE or similar concern you would like to discuss, give us a call at the IONS office. You'll probably talk to Rhonda or Martina or one of the great people there. And you can also email us at ions.org. So be with us again next Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, for more NDE Radio. Thanks for listening.